just had some kale for breakfast with some veggies and some frittatas, and I'm curious if I have green on my teeth. If I do, I hope that becomes entertaining for you. Speaking of entertaining, I wanted to go back and really investigate harmonics and look at a few things that surface because of it. One would be the natural overtone series that Pythagoras had researched and did the study on, and found all the nodes along either a tube or a string, or any musical instrument has this. That's what gives musical quality to the tone, the timbre, and everything else. And it also brings light to the fact that our musical instruments use equal tempered tuning, whereas the natural overtone series uses absolute tuning, which is similar to what a conductor of a choir, he's going more for absolute. He wants that root and third to be beatless. He wants that root and fifth to be beatless. He wants that root and flat seven to be beatless, believe it or not. Whereas it doesn't really happen in the equal tempered world. We do adjustments, but the adjustments afford us to be able to go from one key into another, and all the keys seem to sound fine on their own. If you was going on absolute pitch only, when you'd make a key change, you'd be in trouble. Everything would be all a kilter. And so here's what Pythagoras found. He realized, he says, I have this length of string. It's this long. I bet if I was to cut it in half, or maybe even just touch it there, it would sound in unison with an octave higher than the actual string itself. So that's the fundamental. And if you listen carefully, you can already hear the overtones that are there. Okay, so there's one. That's the first overtone. It's an octave above. Can you still hear it? Yeah. And I hear really well, actually, that one, the major third. But I'm going to go through how did Pythagoras come up with this? What's the math concept behind it? Okay, so he decided that half the length of the string, if he broke it in half, then he'd have two pieces that are half the length. It must be twice as high in frequency. And sure enough, he proved it was. So E, break it in half, you sound a whole octave higher. Then, being a smart mathematician, he broke it into every equal increment he could get from there. So he went to thirds after halves. And at the third, he got a B. Octave plus a fifth. Okay? Because it's actually, I've gone past the octave and I'm at a fifth. I'm up in a, what would that be? Well, the 6th would be the 13th, right? So there's a 14th, right? So that's interesting that, there's a B, and there's the L, to prove that that's what the note would be. And then, mathematically, geez, if this is 1/4 the length, then it must be twice as high as this guy, right? So let's see if that works out. Here's the fundamental. There's the octave above. Sure enough, sound just like E 2 octaves higher, right? Let's keep going, right? That's 1/4 the length of the string. Here's 1/5 the length of the string. And I sound like a G sharp. But you can see things are getting really kind of wavy. Right? Which is interesting. We're showing off the problems of the errors that get crept in on the equal tempered tuning. Here's no, yeah, it's the 2 octaves plus a fifth. There you go. And then finally the flatted 7th. That's very sharp. That's C sharp, and that's too low. So I have to dial it in. I have to go somewhere between the 13th and the flatted 7th. Okay. Right. So Mother Nature had the blues. She actually had a real true blue note on her hands. A flatted 7th, just a little under the wire, and it really moans. And the same can be true for the flatted 3rd, you know. Right? I pull that down and I'm just under the flat 3 or the flat 5. Here's the flat 5. What if I want? Right? So those are blue notes. They're just kind of playing the flat 3, flat 5, flat 7, just a little under the wire. Okay? Now, let me go back to the absolute pitch thing. Okay? Because the Overtone series works in absolute pitch. So, like I said, if a choir master wanted a person to sing a root and the 3rd, he'd want them to be beatless. So I'm going to do the E and the G sharp. And it's totally beatless. The 2 notes are ringing together and there is no wave. Yet, here's equal tempered. I'll do an E and a G sharp. Quite a bit of wave. Right? No wave in sight. Let's do the this in the 5th. Okay, let me get them right. So that 5th is beatless, right? Now let's do it this way. A slight, very slow one, but there's one slight thing. Oh, watch this. Here's the root and the flatted 7th. Beatless. So absolute pitch or absolute tuning is beatless. So when we have choirs singing, they're usually going for that beatless sound in their things. And yet musical instruments, because if I went from like E to say D, G, C, F, going all over the place in all these different things. So what we do is we actually just make every note sound just like the other. You know, it's so if I did all my E's, all sound like E. So as long as all my E's match up, they all sound like an E. And that holds true for every single note. And then, like I said, there's a mathematical formula. It's the 12th root of 2, I believe, right? Because we're going to break the string into 12 parts. And we should be twice as high when we get to here. Right? Okay, so that's kind of the the math theory behind that. And what you do is, so once you do the 12th root of 2, it actually tells you, based off of, it gives you a fractional equivalent of where you would place your first fret. Okay, because you're going to reduce that amount by from the string length. Then that's going to be removed, and whatever you have left, you're going to do the same formula. And that way, all of these actually end up having an equal amount of division of that string. So it's equal half steps. Da, dee, da, dee, da, dee, da, dee. They're all da, dee. They're all exactly half step, half stepping. All the way until I can make it all the way to the bitter end. 12 half step, well, I didn't count how many, but you got the idea. Between, the 12-tone system, okay? So, anyways, like I said, the Overtone series really shows you everything you need to know about harmonics. The cool thing is, this works on every single string, right? So if I ever needed a C sharp harmonic, right, I'm going to find it on the A string, and it'll be that third, the one that'll give me the third on there, right? There's multiple places, obviously. This works here, this works here, right? Right, that was an F sharp. I think I can get an F sharp better here, right? Because this one's a little stronger harmonic. This was the 5th above the B, right? But this was the 3rd above the D. Right? So I'm sounding like I'm doing something like that. Well, something like that. So you can do things like that. Now, the other thing you can do, these are all natural harmonics, right? I always used to see this word come up, artificial harmonics, which there's nothing artificial about them. Say I want to do this G chord. Why couldn't I just take my index finger, boom, 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 and play pluck behind it, point to 12 frets above that, that's how you can get it. And of course you could do your one where it give you the 5th and the double octave and all that business, right? So anything you can do fingered, you can reproduce here, right? So that really opens up a big world when it comes to harmonics, is understanding that, go 12 frets higher, use a pointer finger, and something activate. You get somebody like Billy Gibbons. He does it all with his pick. So let me see if I can find a pick. So he'll take a pick, right? And he'll hold that baby so close that there's no doubt the fleshy side of his thumb is going to get into the picture too. So that's just getting that pick. The pick goes across, but as that's happening, the string is feeling the flesh of the thumb. So, in fact, you know what I do a lot of times? I find that I twist, and that way everything's guaranteed it's going across at the same time. So that as the pick's going across, so isn't the thumb. So, anyways, so that's choke picking, is doing it that way. You can also do what they call palm harmonics. This is a fun one. It's darling, it's somewhere right in here. Sound almost like a marimba. So palm harmonics. That's all I was doing. I was just laying the palm side of my hand down on the strings and picking up here. Yeah. So there's so many harmonic tricks. They're all cool. You can tap them in too, you know. So a lot of people will do that. You know, it can be like, yeah. Right. So being really, you know, very careful of exact placement and stuff, and you can get something. Maybe with an electric guitar that might be a little more prominent. I wanted to use the acoustic because it's tougher. It's a tougher workhorse to, you know, not so much on a Taylor. Robert Taylor did a fantastic job of CNC work and aligning everything up exact on this instrument. So, she's intonation is fantastic. Does he have it? Yeah, he even has a compensated bridge, compensated saddle. So, yeah. So I hope that helps you. That's understand more of absolute pitch versus the equal tempered tunings that we actually use that actually are flawed, but they make things sound fine when we're going from one key to another. So modulation wouldn't work without it, and so they're both very useful. You know, they're both very useful to look at. You know, to try be able to get things to be absolute, you know, rock solid, no crazy beating. But having a crazy beating is part of the musical business. You know, so anyways, yeah, that's my take on harmonics. I can thank Mike Odd and all the and Pythagoras for actually discovering it, you know, and having great teachers that taught me all the tricks, you know. Good old Chet Atkins with his, what's it? Right? Going right across, what I'm doing here is I'm plucking a fretted note, and then I play a harmonic note, move down, right? Right? So again, so that one's from Chet. So who knows? Maybe it was Jerry Reed showed him that. I don't know. Or Les Paul. But all those guys knew this stuff too. So, and now you do too. So enjoy it and go practice. And thanks for watching. And do subscribe if you can. Thanks for the new subscribers. And thanks for all the thumbs up. I'm really, really pleased. We have a great community. Thank you.